We had a fella move here on the mountain from Florida. His name's Dwayne, and he and Tom came over and visited a little bit about his experience trying to connect to the grid here. And I think you might find it interesting. The topic also goes to Brown's gas or HHO gas, LED lights. It's a pretty good conversation, I thought. And if you feel like that listening to someone's conversation is like watching paint dry, you might want to move on. But I do feel like there's some good information in here, and I decided to share it with you.
I did that in the military.
All right. Well, I went down to Salida to get them to come install the power, and they overwhelmed me with the contract, about this thick.
Mm-hmm.
There was no transparency. They wouldn't tell me where any of the money was going. They tried to tell me I wouldn't understand. And I'm like, really? And they said, well, we code everything. Well, let's uncode it. And they wouldn't do it. And they want you to pay for everything, and it's theirs. And it's $30,
Exactly.
$30 a month, even if you don't use it.
So that your minimum would have been 30?
$30 a month.
Mine was going to be 75.
Okay. But I think it's 35 is what it is, and that's not including any power. Now, see, in Florida, it's $14 a month is your minimum, but it's deducted off your usage. And here it's
So
not.
how much would it have been for you to tie in? What were they going to charge?
I think I got the contract up there. I think it's $44.20. So, and see, there's no transparency when you get the engineer out. They should give you all that information before you give them $250.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just spiders. They're crooked. Very, very
They
crooked.
figured mine out if I were to pay cash instead of doing like the monthly
Yeah, that's what
minimum,
we're going to do, the cash.
and they were my total was going to be right at 11,000.
Okay, that's why yours was 75 to pay off that installment. That was my 35 is with a cash payment. You've still got that $35
No kidding.
a month.
So
Yes.
you're going to pay them all that money for the privilege of having a monthly bill.
Yes, that you don't own any of it. And I'm like, okay, so I decided to go to Florida for 4 months. Well, you still have to pay that $35. You can't vacation it.
Mm-hmm.
If you decide to sell your property and want to be, it takes a year or so, you're still paying that $35 a month. And if they pull it up, then the new owners have to do the re-engineering.
Wow. They're getting it to the point where a person just ain't going to be able to do nothing but live in an apartment complex.
Exactly, that's what they're doing. But they have a really nice program called their Roundup program, and you can go ahead and sign up for that, and that's where they round your bill up to the highest dollar, and it goes into a trust that's appropriated by an independent committee.
Appropriated.
Yeah, they get to decide what to do with it independent of your input.
Man.
Sounds like a trust, doesn't it? Sounds like a belief.
Sounds like something.
So, for $35 a month, just think of the solar system that you can put up, and over. Yeah, it absolutely will, because there is no transparency, and they're divisive. Well, why would I pay for your equipment and then pay for the service? You're providing electricity to me, so I'll pay for the electricity, but why would I pay for your equipment? I tried to explain it away, as to, well, we're in a rural community, so if we, gave everybody our equipment, we would go broke and upside down. I'm like, but don't you get state and federal funding? Well, yeah, we do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And they get super cheap loans too.
Yeah, 3%. 3% loans. And not only that, they pass the charges off to the customer anyway. Mm-hmm. So you're getting double billed, triple billed.
Yep.
Quadruple billed.
Yep.
But it's a lot of people aren't able to think outside of that box. Once you have electricity, you think it's a necessity. No one teaches their children that it's not.
Right.
That you can do everything in the daytime.
Exactly. That's
everything.
That's how we live.
I mean,
she does all the cooking during the day, and at night we go to bed.
Yeah.
Or we're eating like cold cuts or cheese.
You're right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can live without it.
We really can. I think really just the major deception that's gone on. We really are still in the Garden of Eden. We have everything. We have power, we have light, we have everything.
Mm-hmm.
We're just sold a bunch of garbage.
I agree.
Well,
so you're thinking seriously about going off the grid now?
No, I am. There's no thinking about it. There's no way I want to give away, $4,300 just to give it away.
$4,300 will buy you a lot of equipment.
Yeah.
It'll get you on the road real nicely.
At today's prices, yeah. It's just coming down.
Yeah. We were a little bit, we were new at it the first couple days we were here, but by the first week into it, the natural biorhythm just kicks in when you're not, flipping on everything at night.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really simple.
It is.
And I've got that one system that Roger let me borrow. It's something Max. It's like a 1,500 watt. It's an inverter and a deep cell battery
Mm-hmm.
and one solar power panel,
Mm-hmm.
a small one. And I was able to, you only run one tool at a time. So I was able to run my belt sander, run my grinder, run my drill press, run everything, and work off of that. So so I want to set up with figure out how many batteries I need, figure out what type of inverter system I need, and probably start off with 8
Well,
or
the first thing
10
we
cells.
got to find out is how much your consumption's going to be,
Mhm.
because that's what we're going to build off on what your production needs to be. And then the batteries, the way I sized them for my house is I sized them big enough to get me through a couple of nights. And I don't even figure the batteries into the equation for things like the power tools and the well pump consumption. The only thing I figure that I run off the batteries is lights, computers, and TVs.
And refrigerator.
And the refrigerator.
Yeah, that's, I think the most important is the refrigeration, to keep your food good.
We've got a nice stainless steel side-by-side fridge that if you get a tier 3, they're real efficient.
Is that the latest technology in the compressors?
Yeah, if you go for the LG, it's the most energy efficient right now. And if you look in the yellow tag inside the fridge, and if you find something that says less than $40 a year to operate,
Is that the Energy Star rating or a different rating?
it's not really. The Energy Star rating is your tier levels.
Okay.
The yellow tag on the inside is an estimate of how much it'll cost to operate that refrigerator over the cost of a year, based on 12 cents a kilowatt hour.
Okay.
So if you find you one that says it'll cost about $40 a year or less to operate, then you're in good shape. Your system will run it easily. You can run it on almost a pocket inverter. Like what you buy at Walmart to plug. In fact, this
Or about like that little system I've got there, one battery and one little inverter.
Exactly. Well, this refrigerator here, when I was building this house, I turned the ice maker off in it, and just had one of those little 200 watt fist size inverters. that plugs into the cigarette lighter, and I ran it off my truck.
Okay.
I just plugged it into the cigarette lighter and ran an extension cord to it.
Okay.
Had 2 lights in the house that I ran.
So they are nice and efficient.
They're real efficient.
Okay.
And then this deep freeze we've got here is just one we picked up. What, at Lowe's, babe? Or Home Depot, one of them places?
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything particularly efficient. I looked it up on the internet, and it pulls like 900 watt hours a day on the average, and it works fine for us. And then in the wintertime, I put a timer on it.
Right.
So during the day it runs, but at night it just shuts off.
Okay. And keep it outside, yes.
Keep it outside,
Yes,
and it does fine.
Okay.
and then of course all LED lights.
Yes. Yeah, which I hate to say, but eBay just kills it on that. The LED lights, you get them so cheap.
Well, actually, right now, Walmart, Black Hills Energy is subsidizing a lot of LED bulbs. Like, I got a bunch of these LED bulbs in the house that are 60 watt equivalent, and I paid $2 each for them at Home Depot.
Okay.
But Black Hills Energy quit subsidizing those. But what they're subsidizing now is these floodlights I got up here. Those are 65 watt equivalent halogen, and they're like $2.99 or $3.99.
So they're coming down finally.
Well, it's just Black Hills is subsidizing the cost. So
yeah, I switched over about three years ago to LED in Florida. We switched everything over, and I had to do it through eBay, straight from China, because I hate to do it, but it was.
That's what I did at first.
Just so.
I went through China.
You were like $7 a bulb compared to $1 a bulb.
Oh, IKEA also has some.
Yeah, IKEA has. Believe it or not, you can drive up to IKEA, and their LED bulbs, just the regular price, are pretty decent.
Okay, they don't do they do more than flat pack furniture or flat
Yeah.
pack. Okay. Is that Colorado Springs? Are they there?
It's Denver.
In Denver, okay.
But I would check Walmart and Home Depot after you've looked at eBay, because they're getting real competitive local. And then the computers, you want to use laptop instead of desktop, because a laptop we can run ours pretty much.
You drop it down to what, 5.4 volts? I think is what they operate off of.
Yeah, they'll run around 5 volts. But the thing is like a desktop computer will pull 120 watts just sitting there, and a laptop will pull 35 watts.
Okay.
So it's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And then we've even gone down to those 10-inch tablet.
Okay.
Those Android tablets. And you can get them with a keyboard. Looks just like a laptop. And those pull 5 watts. So we watch TV on that all night long.
That's what we do too. Yeah, I hate commercials. One interesting thing that I've come up with up here is for a heat sink, stainless steel pan to put your laptop on. It cuts down that fan running constantly, because if you sit it down on a flat surface, it wants to heat up.
Especially if you set it on your blanket on your bed.
Yeah. So we put it on a stainless steel pan, and it works as a nice heat sink. Stays cool. You can put a little bit of ice underneath it, and it never go off the fan. There's all kinds of ways to innovate.
So pretty much everything that you buy today is going to have efficiency built in, just because of government requirements.
So government does something good? Did we say that? Did we imply that?
I think it's kind of heading that way before they did. But, if we can figure out what your usage, I mean, you probably use some pretty heavy equipment.
I like to braise more than I like to weld.
Okay.
But if it's going to be a lot of pressure, a lot of weight, of course, arc welded or TIG welded or MIG welded. But I'd probably crank up a generator for that.
Okay.
I've got a generator, and I plan on getting propane and backup
you want
generator.
to go all electric like us or hybrid like Tom?
I want to do a lot of 12 volt. I think. You mean hybrid as far as?
Well, like he's got a gas stove.
Oh no, yeah,
he's
definitely.
Got gas stove and gas water heater. Where our stove's electric, our water heater's electric, and we're totally off grid.
Okay, yeah. Well, that is nice, isn't it, doing that?
Yeah, you don't have to worry about the buying propane or the availability of it or market price or anything like that. So.
But the drawback is in the wintertime, we do have to run the generator more often than Tom does.
Yeah.
Because there's just not as much sunlight during the day, and so there's sometimes that she's got to cook for a church function or something, and we just have to run the generator.
Well, I'm gonna hybrid the hybrid and do gas just because my wife loves to cook on gas. So I would get a gas stove and just electric in the dryer when we have to dry something instead of hanging out, because it is so much faster. I think propane is more expensive, or natural gas. You probably don't have that availability here on natural gas, but propane takes so long in a dryer, and it's so expensive. I think you end up spending more. So yeah, it'll be a little mix max of that. I already purchased a washing machine and dryer, Samsung front loaders, and I went
Those
with
are good, efficient.
electric. So and then I'm looking for a stove. I probably go with an older stove because I want to get rid of all the electronics. I can't stand all the clocks.
There's a couple.
Why do we have so many
making
clocks?
The old style stoves, where you have the pilot light or the electronic ignition or something.
Okay.
But you have to look for them.
Okay. Yes.
I saw a stove that somebody was selling, and I don't remember what site I was at, but he was building these stoves that they're non-electric and they're pilotless. It's got like a starter like you have on your barbecue grill.
Yes, yeah.
You turn it on and you go snap, 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 and it starts the flame.
A little quartz crystal there.
Yeah, something in there.
That's what it is. It's a little spring-loaded hammer and a quartz crystal. All that energy stored in quartz is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Piezo electric, I think.
Yeah.
Term for it.
Mm-hmm.
So inverters, and batteries. Where's the best place to shop, do you think?
The place here in Colorado is pretty decent on batteries, really, aren't they?
Yeah, I was just looking at
the
the Craigslist ad that he's got. He's selling these batteries now. They're Trojan L16 RE. I think it's either A or B batteries, but he said they're only like 350 or something like that for amp hours. Where mine are 1100 amp hours. They're the Trojan L16 RE. They're not the letter designation.
Mm-hmm.
And mine are 1100 amp hours. And ones he's selling are like 350 amp hours.
So like a third of the amp hours.
But they cost like $250, where I paid like $320, I think, each for mine. So
his aren't a third of the cost, though.
Yeah, it's still a better value. Yours.
Yeah, I'm thinking the old, if you can get them, the old L16 REs.
If I could afford it, man, I'd do nickel iron batteries in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Well, there's
who's selling nickel iron batteries?
Oh, you have to order those direct from China through Alibaba. There's not even a dealer here. Well, there's one dealer, I think, up in Montana, but he refurbishes old ones.
Oh.
And he charges like twice what a new set from China costs, even after you pay shipping.
So that's just nickel cathode and iron anode?
Yeah, but man, they're expensive. They're real expensive. They're about 4 times the cost of a regular battery set.
Well, nickel is still made out of nickel for a while. They're going to.
Actually, they don't even make them out of pure nickel anymore. They're nickel plated iron and then iron. So,
the wet cells, if you take good care of them, don't let them discharge past 50%, and then do your what do they call it, overcharge?
Your equalization.
Equalization charge at least twice a year, then they'll last you a lifetime. But you got to baby them.
Yeah.
And make sure your water is up.
You know,
don't ever let the water go down below the plates.
Sure. So.
And that depends on how heavily you cycle them as to how often you got to water them.
Yep.
And there's a company in Taiwan that I was telling Tom about a while back, and I've got what I think is a really good inverter and a really good charge controller, and he does too. It's just his is an older model, but it's no less efficient than mine. But this system out of Taiwan, everybody the first revision that they turned loose of them had mixed reviews. But now that they're in revision like 5, they're really solid, and they've gotten really great reviews, and they're like half the price of the stuff I've got. So instead of paying $1,600 for a 4,000 watt inverter and $500 for a charge controller, you can get them all in one box. It's remotely controlled by your computer over the network. You can pop on the internet and monitor it from anywhere in the world. And I think I think it runs around $800.
4,000 watt. You can step it up to 6,000 watt, no problem. You just have to get more
You can
batteries.
get these. You can parallel stack them up to, I think, 12 kilowatts.
Oh wow!
And those are 220.
Yeah, they're 220.
Yeah. See, mine's just a 110 volt system.
Right.
It's
right.
old,
Uh-huh.
but we're making it work.
Right. Right.
I
Right.
live with
Don't
it. You know.
forget to talk about turbine power.
Well, what do you need 220 for? I mean,
A well pump.
yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
I have,
Well pump,
I have
the
a step-up
dryer.
transformer and that.
Well pump, the dryer.
Well, the
Yeah,
dryer's
an electric
gas.
stove if you get an electric stove.
My air
Yeah.
compressor.
If your air compressor's 240
Yeah,
volts,
okay.
you'll need it for that.
Okay. Okay. So this is eBay too.
It's eBay.
Yeah,
You'll look up. You'll do a search on PIP inverter, PIP, and then there's several different models, and you got to really watch close, Dwayne, because you'll see something that looks exactly like what you're looking for, and then you get down into the description, and it's 50 cycles instead of 60.
Okay.
So you need to watch your cycles. Make sure that you're getting 240 or 120 or whatever it is that you're needing. And what I would probably do. Oh crap! You got a compressor though that you want to run.
I can step down the compressor. I'm not running a sandblaster right now, and just because of my neck, I probably don't want to do any sandblasting.
Well,
Production
either way,
anyways.
you can.
I was doing production, so I had to have a 220. But if I'm not doing
No, you
production,
can do
I can run
220.
110.
Actually, 220 is more efficient
Yeah.
because you don't have to run as big a wire, and I would go with the 220. It's not going to change the price of your inverter,
Okay.
and you can get step up and step down transformers pretty easily. So
Make them all day long.
yeah, if you know how to make them, then that's
Yeah.
cool. But
Yeah. I got so
How
many
about that?
microwave oven transformers up there, and whenever I was doing the hydrogen, I would just
you've done hydrogen,
yeah,
the
yeah.
HHO gas.
Yeah, the HHO
Oh, you're my
gas.
kind of
It's
dude.
incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
it blows my mind that that technology has been occulted from us for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And is it the Faraday? Did Faraday do the laws on the hydrogen gas, saying that you couldn't get more out of it than you put in it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not counting the sun.
Yeah.
Right.
It's right there, and you absolutely can get 100% more out of it than you put into it because you got nothing in it but water and some electrolyte, some
Yeah.
acid.
Yeah, I've noodled around with it in New Mexico, and I had all the stuff that I needed to build a really good size hydrogen gas generator. And I had I'd gotten surplus off the market, these stainless steel
316.
straining screens. It's 316 stainless, and it was made for spray paints or spray paint sprayers.
Right.
And I got I don't remember, it's like 100 of them, and I used some of them and got a pretty good configuration going. I used a nylon sock to separate them from each other but yet get them really close so they could steam good.
Yep.
And I remember I'd stick that in a bucket of water and I'd light it with a lighter and it'd pop like firecrackers. It's really cool. And bubbles would come up. And
I've got a nice control panel I built and put together, and I made my own transformer, stick down to 12 volt off a microwave oven transformer, and it's just amazing that we blow a balloon and put it in a box, take the box, and then use a large extension pole, from a swimming pool, and light that thing and just shred.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see that amount of energy, I mean, there's no way we can't run vehicles. I mean, you run vehicles, there's so much energy there.
And
that you can push
the only
over.
byproduct of it is water.
Water, yeah, water.
So,
And it cuts copper, so much better than oxygen and acetylene. Oxygen and acetylene will melt the copper, and the hydrogen just cuts it beautifully. The tip stays cold always.
yeah.
So you can turn it off and touch the leg.
So how extensive is your dabbling with it going?
Well, from doing my control panel completely to putting together my dry cell, and I didn't go with the wet cell. I went with the dry cell. A lot of people like the wet cells, but I went with the dry cell, and I've got the what is it? Not neoprene is the brand name, I forget, the polyethylene, I think is is what the material is. Gaskets around it, and I think I've got over 30 panel one over there. I'll get it out. I'm undoing crates right now, so I'll get it out and bring it over here.
Because I know you're trying to get settled in, but once you get settled in, we'll get together and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I'll pull that out, and so as soon as I get to that, I'll bring it over and let you play around with that.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Well,
you know,
talk about French fry, honey.
as long as you've got the solar panels to charge your batteries, you've got hydrogen gas forever. And you know, I've even messed around with like I made my own torch tips. You know, what I ended up doing, what was real simple, was buying some of the welding tips for the wire that were real tiny. I forget the diameter, but super tiny. So you get a nice compression of the gas. You get a good flame. So you can convert your ovens. There's so much you can do, and people are working on it on YouTube. You know, they're making burners for cooking, and people are making all kinds of
YouTube's
proper
a great
orifices.
place for exchange of
It
ideas.
sure is, isn't it? I love it. I've missed it.
Well,
Where we're at right now, we have horrible service, even with our AT&T. But when I moved down to my building, we've got 4 bars.
Oh,
So yeah, so it's
it doesn't take a lot of distance
It doesn't.
to change your
It doesn't.
service.
It doesn't.
Well, I guess
Building this
we decided to let it do its
yeah.
thing. But I think what I'd do if I was you is I'd buy a really good beefy inverter.
4,000 watt or
charge
go plus 4,000
4,000 plus
to go.
I mean, okay, your compressor is 240 volts. Do you know what its amp rating is on it?
I think I had to run it off of. No, I can't say if it's 35 or 50. I don't remember which. It's up there.
Wow, yeah, it is.
It's
Well,
up
you got
there.
like a 4-cylinder compressor on that
Two.
thing?
Two, yeah.
Um,
When you're sandblasting, it uses so much air,
Yeah.
you know. And they're
Okay.
so inefficient. Air compressors are
They are.
the worst, you know, for efficiency.
well, the way that you can figure out what your inverter capacity needs to be.
We need a windmill air compressor.
There was a fellow that built one back in the 70s that I
Okay.
read an article in Mother Earth News about it.
Okay,
And he used it to pump water with.
okay.
You've heard of using compressed air to pump, haven't you?
yeah.
And he had just flexible hoses running from a windmill up on a hill all the way down to where he lived in the canyon there, and he ran those down as well, and that's how he pumped his water.
Oh, okay.
He just had a compressor off the car with a fan on it, and
Almost the same as like fracking or something, where you're pumping water and floating the.
yeah.
You can do it. There's some good videos on people doing it with lifting water, showing you how to lift water with just a small pump from a fish aquarium
Yep.
and a straw.
Yep.
Or and it shows you how.
And that's
easy
exactly
that
what this guy was
Yeah,
doing.
okay. I was looking into the ways to when I was doing the hydroponics, to instead of running that pump even on a timer, ways to do it more efficient. When I came across that method,
There's people that are pumping water using air from over 300-400 feet deep.
Wow.
And the thing about it is you don't have to have like 100 psi to do it. Just what you breathe out is enough to do it.
yeah, just
Because
create a
use
bubble.
you
You just create the bubble.
Yeah, the water
Buoyancy.
rides on top of the air bubble in the pipe, and the air bubble pushes the water up and out of the pipe.
Buoyancy.
Huh.
And it works pretty well. So it doesn't. It's not like you have to have a lot of air work to do it. You just need the.
Isn't it amazing that all this new knowledge is actually antique knowledge? It's just
Exactly.
been occulted. You know,
Exactly,
it's been completely
yes.
hidden from us.
Yep.
And I'm glad that it's been rediscovered because. You know, like I said, the way they're doing things now, they're trying to herd everybody into these apartment complexes and condos.
Oh, they've got people hurting themselves now.
Yeah. And I don't want any part of that.
I don't either. I don't think I'm far enough out now. I've decided already.
That's what we've been talking
I'm
about.
thinking Chaffee County over there.
Yeah.